Good day, my name is Sky, and I appreciate you spending some study time with me. I'm here to help you make money in online poker by teaching you key strategies and getting you to take action. I'm looking forward to today's episode because I get to help you slow down between your decisions to give you a little bit more time to think and to make smart, winning plays. To help you take notes for today, whip out that poker journal.
Excuse me while I whip this out.
And of course, go to the show notes page, smartpokerstudy.com/pod493 to help you take notes. Without further ado, let's do this. Gambate! Alrighty then. So, Special Forces soldiers, they're put in life and death situations where mistakes can cost lives. You want to get your shot now before your target disappears or before the tank blows you away like in Saving Private Ryan. We all remember that. But when you slowly and smoothly reload your rifle, position yourself, take aim, squeeze the trigger, you're more likely to succeed and, of course, to live. That's why the Special Forces have that mantra, slow is smooth and smooth is fast. I really love this mantra, and I wanted to apply it to poker, so I kind of reworded this for us today. Slow is smart, and smart is winning. Now, for poker players, it's not life and death that we have to worry about on the poker felt, right? But just like in battle, we can't go back and we cannot correct our mistakes. Lost chips are lost. So it's critical for us to take our time, assess all the information available, and then make logical, smart plays. Acting too quickly without considering as much information as possible, well, that's a common downfall for poker players. And I'm sure we're all guilty of this situation right here. We're dealt pocket aces and then dollar signs flash in our eyes, and we just can't wait to get it in with those pocket aces, right? Well, we open raise, a fish calls, and then they call our flop c-bet. And then they check raise us 3 times our bet on the turn. Instead of pausing to think through the spot, we just jam all in because, hey, I got aces. Of course, he quickly calls and he turns over a set of 4s. We're shocked and appalled! It's not until we calm down later and then we realize, oh, of course, this calling station fish had us beat when he 3x'd our bet. Now, this one kind of unthinking, quick-to-act mistake can kill an entire session. We're better off, just like soldiers, taking our time to assess all the information and to make a read on our enemy's actions before we make our play. So, what can we do to slow things down to give us more time to consider the available information and to make smart decisions? Well, I've got 7 tips here for you. Tip number 1 is to play fewer tables. The more tables you're on, the less brain space you have for decision making. You must figure out for yourself how many tables is too many for good decisions. Now, for me, I play at most 4 tables. I used to, when I was younger, play 6 tables, but now just 4 at most, like I said. And this is only when I'm playing A-game poker and I'm firing on all cylinders. But most of the time right now, 2 tabling is my sweet spot. So you need to figure out the magic number of tables where you're engaged, so you're not bored, and you have enough time to use the information available to make great reads and plays. Tip number 2, remove your hand from your mouse. Finger tilt happens in times of stress, like when you hold a big pocket pair on a scary board and that pot is growing. You are dreading that next card, and your heart's starting to pump. This building stress leads to unthinking bets, unthinking raises, and of course, unthinking calls. When you notice stress rising, remove your hand from your mouse. This gives your brain space to think about all the information available to make reads before you make plays. Tip number 3, fold marginal spots to focus on big hands. So this saves brain space for big decisions. Maybe you're playing 3 tables with 3 concurrent hands. Hand number 1, you flop top pair on a wet board as the pre-flop raiser. Hand number 2, you double-barreled with a set, but you got min check raised. And then right now in hand number 3, you're dealt queen-jack suited under the gun. Now, this is a hand that's in your normal early position opening range. Is this a good time to open raise with queen-jack suited right now? Heck no! You have bigger fish to fry with that flop top pair on the wet board and then double barreling and then getting min check raised. Do not suffocate your brain with a marginal spot. Just fold instead. Tip number 4, always know your opponent. So what type of player are you up against? Is Bob 123 a loose aggressive who folds a lot on the turn? Knowing your opponent's style and tendencies, those are critical in making solid reads. When they make a play contrary to their tendencies, that's a red flag and you must sit up and take notice. Bob 123 is very turn honest, so you double barrel bluff him. He called and the river's a blank. Should you triple barrel bluff Bob? Probably not, because he called on a street, the turn, that he's normally honest on. Tip number 5 is to range them. When you get involved in a hand, you must visualize their pre-flop range. Whether they defended the big blind, 3-bet, or limp called, their action, paired with their tendencies, helps you range them. When you range them, you can gauge how well their range interacts with the board, and this is going to help you make better reads and, of course, better plays against them. Hand reading is the key skill that you need for ranging every player, so learn hand reading with the Online Poker Hand Reading Workbook. You can get it by going to smartpokerstudy.com/handreadingworkbook. It's a 95-page workbook with 38 hand reading walkthroughs and exercise, 15 video demonstrations plus quizzes, and a 17-page answer key. Once again, go to smartpokerstudy.com/handreadingworkbook. Tip number 6 is to ask and answer a question. Asking and answering a question before each button click is one of my favorite in-game focus strategies. And of course, you've probably heard me say this before. My favorite question is poker's ultimate question. What's he doing this with? Use all the available information to answer this question. You want to think about player type, their tendencies, their range, their position, their bet sizes, their stack sizes, and the actions made on prior streets. Now, here are 3 other questions that I really like to use on top of poker's ultimate question. Number 1 is this a profitable table? That gets you to think about the table you're on and potentially moving tables if you don't think this is a great table. Question number 2, who's my target at the table? This helps you spot the fish so you know who to target. And question number 3, will they fold to a c-bet? We are more often than not the pre-flop raiser than we are the pre-flop caller, so we're going to be making more c-bets than facing c-bets. And also because most of the time we don't hit a pair, we must think about how often they fold versus c-bets in order to steal as many pots as possible. Tip number 7 is to turn on the auto time bank option. Now, most of the time, this is already turned on for you, but some sites might not do it, and you can probably find the time bank option in the site's settings. Now, there's always that initial 10 or 15 seconds to act, but there's that backup of 30 to 60 seconds for tough decisions. Make sure to turn this on to relieve a bit of in-game pressure. Challenge! Here's my challenge to you for this episode. Put these 7 tips into action with your very next session. Write them down on a sticky note and use each one. If you only do one, remove your hand from your mouse for big decisions. That's probably the most important and the easiest way to slow things down to give you more time to make better decisions. But obviously, I recommend doing all 7. Now get to it! Now it's your turn to take action and do something positive for your poker game.
Oh, that's it now. Get out there and be somebody. Go write a book.
Thank you so much for listening today. I hope you took notes as you listened. And to help you take notes, make sure you visit the show notes page, smartpokerstudy.com/pod493. And then on that page, there's a link to the Online Poker Hand Reading Workbook. This is the key tool that you need to finally learn to become a hand reader. Your study sessions, you'll learn so much more from them. Your play sessions, you're going to make better reads and better plays, better exploits against your opponents with the skill of hand reading. So go to smartpokerstudy.com/pod493 and click the link. Until next time, take action both on and off the felt to become the player that you want to be.